In this video, we're going to look at layout and changing the way things look. So if we've got a view controller and we add a label, there are several things we can add in here. When we look over here, you've got the attributes inspector, and this allows you to change a whole lot of things. You can change the size of the text. You can change it from plain to attributed text, which you can select the font. You can change it to whatever you wish. It also allows you to change the color to whatever you want. So you can select whichever color you wish. And that just gives you that little bit more of a choice in how you want your look to actually be. So if we select various colors, shadows, you can select a whole lot of things from bold to adjusting size, how many lines you want the label to be. We can also do that with our view controller itself. When we click that, we can select the background color and we can change that to whatever we wish as well. So I'll add in another label over here, and we're going to select the color for that to be yellow, and we're going to increase the font size so you can see it. Now often you'll see that when you move things around, these blue lines appear. These blue lines are guidelines for how things should line up in the screen. So you can see that one's a nice centered line. When you run them in the simulator, you can select your simulator and you can select a whole bunch of different sizes. Sometimes it doesn't quite line up the way you wish. So if that's the case, I'll show you a few ways you can get your layout right. Let's just add an image in here as well. And we'll copy a couple of images in. Remember, when you add in an image, so we'll drag in an image. Remember to make sure that copy, if needed, is selected. And we'll put that image into there. Close that off. So when you line things up, these little blue lines work as guidelines. So that's centered. Now it's not locked to that position. So sometimes when you run the simulator, it doesn't line up where you want. What you can do down here is these things allow you to lock things into various positions. This is an auto resolve button. So this allows you to set all constraints to what it thinks should be locked away. So when I click that button, you'll see that all these blue lines arrive. And that's saying that this image should be exactly that height above this label. And this label should be exactly this height above that label, and this label should be exactly this height above the top. So you can see how that locks them all together. Another way to do it is click this button down here, and you get all the devices that the simulator will work on, and you can scroll through and see how it will look on each simulator. And you can see when I go right down to the 4S, my image completely disappears. This can be somewhat problematic and somewhat frustrating. The easiest way to approach layout is open this one up, select the iPhone that you want your app to run on, and then design it using that as the template. There's a couple of other elements you can do. I'm just going to clear all of these constraints, so you'll see all those little lines disappear. You can actually add them yourself. So for this one, I can add in a constraint, and we go align horizontally and vertically, click the add to constraints, and it locks it right in the middle. However, it's also enlarged my image, which is massive, and we don't want that. So we also need to add a few more bits and pieces. So we can do aspect ratio, we can fix the width and the height of our image, and we can lock it to that exact place. Now remember, if I lock it to 75 pixels from the top, which is what that one's saying, that will change depending on the size of my iPhone, but it will always be 75 pixels, so it won't be centered for everything. So that may not be as useful as some of the other ones. The auto layout is certainly the easiest, but it doesn't always give you what you want. So it's important to play around with this. work out what works best. But my advice is select the iPhone you want to work on and use that as your base layout. That will give you the closest run to your simulation. It may not rotate between the various sizes that well, but at least you'll be able to run it on your own phone quite easily.